Hi Kickstarter backers, this is the next installment in our behind the scenes videos. Today we're going to be talking about environment art. My name is Damon Dubois, I'm the 3D art director, and with us we've got Ranko Prozo, he's our lead environment artist.
Hello.
And Tim Curry, he's our lead technical artist. So what we're going to talk about today is just our process, how we construct things, and also, an emphasis on how we bring across the WayForward aesthetic that's been established over, decades of 2D games into 3D. And this is something we've spent a few years on now over the course of several projects where we're learning, and further refining the process of how to bring that into 2D and still have it have that same look, that same kind of cute, charming feel that a lot of the previous games have. And so we'll go ahead and I'll hand it over to Ranko. He's our lead environment artist. He's been here for several years and has worked on several games and has really kind of got a great grasp on how to transition that look over to textures and geometry.
Yep. So the first thing we do is we will receive concept art of all the environments that we're required to make in 3D. And then what I do is create a generic blockout just to kind of get the shapes right and make sure that the spacing of things are accurate and follow the original concept accurately. So after we have the blockout made, then we do a detail pass and try to get the final models made, which means that I model out everything according to how the concept looks, and we try to get all the little details in and try to just make it look as closely representative of the original concept art. After the modeling phase, we take the models into 3ds Max and unwrap them onto a flat surface so that you can paint details onto all the surfaces. And then later on, once painted, all the surfaces are taken and wrapped back around the models to give the model texture. And we call this the texturing phase. After this has been completed, we go into Photoshop and we paint all our textures. All our textures at WayForward are painted by hand generally, and I try to match the original concept art as close as possible. After the textures have been painted, everything is recombined again in 3ds Max to give us a close representation of the finished product. And then what we do is we export these models into our game engine, where we add additional lighting or effects or like water reflections and all kinds of things like this, just to spice it up a little bit and make it look really nice and dynamic and fluid. The unique thing about Shantae Half-Genie Hero is that nothing in this game is procedurally generated, which means we put the care and attention into every little detail in the game world, so everything is built by hand. And since it's a 2D platformer, we can really focus on getting the details to fit the camera accurately, and then there's no wasted work going into anything that you potentially might not see off screen.
So now to talk about the tech art, I'm going to hand it over to Tim Curry. He was our lead tech artist for DuckTales and brings over a lot of the expertise and a lot of the tricks that were worked out in that game as well on the tech side.
As the technical artist, my job is to take the art that the environment artists have made and prepare it for implementation and advanced functionality such as animations. One of the first things I do is add collision geometry to objects that the player can interact with or collide with. This involves creating basic primitive geometry around objects to define where the collision will actually take place. This geometry also serves multiple purposes, such as acting as a trigger volume so that when the player interacts with it, an animation can start or end. Another thing that I'm responsible for is creating 3D animations for objects that will have looping effects in the scene. Adding things like swaying grass and jiggling planks on a bridge can add a lot of life to the scene when the player is just standing still. Over the years, our technology at WayForward has been developed specifically for platforming games, and we're really excited to see how we can push the envelope this time around to make new, exciting visuals. One of the most important aspects of creating these 3D environments is using modularity to create tiling seamless 3D pieces that we can use to extend the visible playfield. Our concepts will only show us what we can achieve in a single screen length, and we have to extend that in order to create complex levels.
So that's how we put together the environments, and gives you a little insight into our process and the things that we strive for here at WayForward when we're actually putting stuff together. And so thanks a lot for your time, and thanks for all your backing, and let's hit those stretch goals.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.